So go create abundance formula. Again, people asking, how come you guys don't have an abundance formula? So it was really easy to sit down and go, what should be in there? Gold, pretty necessary to be an abundance formula. Got to have gold. Gold is about valuing yourself, that you have intrinsic value. It's not I have to do something to be valued, but I am valuable. And it's really hard to manifest what you want if you don't think you're worth it. So this lifts that up and helps you contact that feeling of value within yourself. I can find the gold within myself. And blueberry pollen is for the mental aspects, the belief systems that are in the way of experiencing abundance. And we're not just talking about money, but abundance of anything in your life. And so the mind is constantly working within belief systems that were handed down by society, family, parents, so on and so forth. Blueberry pollen, for those of you that know blueberries, I've been in quite a few different places around the state, and I've been in quite a few different areas where they have lots of blueberries. And the place where I've seen the most blueberries is the Nellie National Park. You can get there before the bears do. So, and I've talked to people, in Bettles and different places, because the berries, not just blueberries, but the berries are a huge part of the native food supply and food source. In a bad year, in that same place, there would be hardly any blueberries. So it's cyclical. Nature is cyclical, So we have a lot of certain flowers in Homer this summer. Next summer, maybe not see. But anyway, so there's this abundance, this cyclical expression of abundance that happens in nature automatically in different parts, in different times. And so what would the average person in this, or a person in this room, or the average person on the street, if you walk into a grove, for lack of a better word, of blueberries, and there's just enough blueberries, if you could pick them all, it would last you for 15 years. Are you going to stand there and go, nah, I'll pick a few? You'd probably go for it. Because one of the key mental constructs, wherever it came from, if I pick some of these, then somebody else will not be able to have blueberries. There's not enough to go around. Okay? So if I'm rich, if I'm bringing down the big dollars, there's going to be less for somebody else. So that's the first mental belief system that blueberry challenges. That's not the way it works, folks. When it's there, go for it. When it's not there, because you went for it, you still have some. Maybe this is more of an Alaskan subsistence kind of ethos, but they're basically saying we have created this abundance on the planet for the living beings, and you're one of them. So go for it if it's there. Welcome it in. Don't let your mind get in the way. Because you never know. It might not be there next year. So people in this area, they do that with berries. They do that with fish. Let's get the fish in, get the blueberries in. It's called a subsistence lifestyle. But getting your mind out of the way of the experience of abundance. So it helps you challenge your belief systems. We were all told things as kids growing up. We were shown things. Our parents modeled how they dealt with money and certain things. Was that the best way necessarily? No. So we have to be able to free ourselves and say, well, this is my experience. This is how I want to experience abundance. This is how I want to experience money. And this helps a person free up. Now, why it says blueberry pollen? I went to I actually co-taught a workshop in Boulder Hot Springs many years ago, which is outside of Helena, kind of midway between Helena and Butte, Montana. And there was a Native American fellow that came to the workshop, and very, very silent, very respectful and polite during the workshop. Didn't ask any questions, didn't say a word. The lady that I was co-teaching with knew him really well. And he came up to me at the very end and he said, "Nice workshop. I'm giving a little get-together at my place. You know, if you want to come over, Vicky's going to come." So, yeah. So we went over there and had a nice dinner. And he came up to me during the dinner and he said, "Okay, so you need to make 3 pollen essences in Alaska next summer." And he said one of them needs to be blueberry, one of them needs to be cattail, and he said the other one, no, he said one of them needs to be blueberry, one of them needs to be the spruce pollen, and he said the other one I'm not seeing it really clearly. Then he kind of described the cattail plant, and I knew, oh yeah, cattail. So because of this man, I made 3 pollen essences. And he said very quickly, the reason you need to make pollen essences is because of the high magnetic power, the vibratory power of pollen, which is amazing stuff. If you've ever seen the National Geographic magazine on pollen, where they have basically figured out that pollen is the interface between the unseen world and the seen world in terms of the plant community. So pollen, if you break it down far enough, actually speaks to both dimensions and brings in the sort of that saying manna from heaven. That's pollen. So I'm out there with my tweezers pulling apart about 100 blueberry flowers and picking the little pollen pistils, dropping them in the water. Took 2.5 hours because I wanted to have enough. And mosquitoes, again, were ferocious. So I'm sitting there going, wish I never would have met this guy. It turns out to be one of the most amazing essences we have in our system. So it's taking, you have blueberry, which is, yes, it's addressing the mental issues, the beliefs and so on, but then you amp it up to a power of 10 when you put the pollen version in there. The other 2, we just made Sitka spruce pollen and cattail pollen. We didn't make the non-pollen versions of them. So it's a really high frequency of energy that's just saying, here's what's in the way, let that go. Things are going to flow much better for you. So star sapphire, how does that differ from just regular sapphire? It helps you pull more information and more support from further out. And then rock spring I won't talk about a lot because it's saying, hey, whatever you want, you can get it. But it's nice if you have hope and you keep an optimistic attitude about life and you just let it flow. So don't give up hope. Don't sort of get off in a little eddy here and spend a lot of time contemplating whether you're worth it or whether you deserve it or any of these kinds of things. Just let it flow. Just be in the flow. And wonderful things can happen. Miracles can happen. So let's go create.